I was like, I would not be happy as just somebody's wife and having their kids. Like, there's just so much inside of me. And I decided I'm going to pursue this career that has no guarantee.
How's that working out for you?
Kendra G's presence on these dating shows, on these podcasts is very interesting for myself as a content creator, because usually when I do content on older women coping over the decisions that they made to either pursue their career into infamy, prioritizing it over a family, is usually a one and done, right? Usually it's like a regret video. I found it up on TikTok. I talk my ish about it, but she goes from podcast to podcast, right? And it's just like, it's so much content. Anyway, I guess Kendra put her roster aside of all of her men and decided to sit down with this young brother right here on a podcast called the Dear Future Wifey podcast, where she continues to cope. And I think we're going to get into a nature versus nurture conversation, which I think is going to be very enlightening for the people that watch the content here today. So buckle up. Let's get ready to go in and get active on the topic. Without further ado,
that marriage is on the decline. My hope, which I spoke about at the beginning of this year, is for in the African-American community, because they said based in the African-American community, where our marriage rates are like 30%. They said by 2030, it's going to go down to the teens.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that knowing that, how do we reverse engineer it? What you said is so true. A lot of African-American women are out earning the male counterparts, and they feel like I can do bad all by myself, or I don't need you at all. So now women are saying, I don't just need a man that's a provider, because at first men were the providers. Now they're saying, I want something that men are less likely to give, which is emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Now,
the barrier
I can
goes
overlook
up.
the money. I'm out earning you or whatever, but I can't be with a guy that I feel like I can't have conversation with.
Now, before she answers, mind you, 70 years ago, the marriage rate amongst Black families was 70-ish%. They never thought, when they talked about it a little bit after the civil rights movement, that it would never come down to 30%, but here we are. And they're projecting it being in the teens in 15 or so years. Now, as a man that is very familiar with the predicament that it can put high-earning men in deciding to get married, I also understand the benefit of two-parent households when it comes to the proliferation of families, good families, high morals. Nevertheless, let's see how Kendra responds.
And so that's the part that's heartbreaking. And so here on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, I accept those statistics, and then I say, how can we do it better? How can we get men to start building more emotionally? We always been programmed to just be the earners, to be the providers, but how can we provide outside of finances? Not saying in lieu of, but saying, yes, go get your money, go do what you need to do, but don't make your value based upon your income.
Right.
And so what are you finding in yourself in these dating? Let me ask you this. Do you desire marriage?
If I died tomorrow and I wasn't a wife, it wouldn't bother me.
No, because you'd be dead. Yeah. So when people say stuff like that,
but let me tell you why. Because
bother you dead.
No, because there's some people that are like, if I don't get married, it's the biggest regret.
None of that matters once you die.
No, but you got to hear me out, because I felt like becoming who I was born to be. So let me talk about people always say engagements don't count. My engagement changed my life, and it helped me understand me, because I feel like most women we're sold the Cinderella story of marriage, right? So
Disney.
When I was young, I was sold the Cinderella story. Like, oh, you meet somebody, Prince Charming. So I did what we recommend girls do. I went to college. I went to University, got into a relationship. After college, we got engaged. And I remember, it's so funny. My mother, everybody was happy. My daddy said to me, he was like, you are not ready to be anybody's wife. My dad knew. He said, you are so ambitious that you're going to have to give up everything of who you really are to be this man's wife. And I remember being so mad at my dad, because I was like, I would think you would be happy, right? But he knew me. So one thing I loved about my engagement is that me and my ex-fiance, we took it serious. And we were like, if we get married, it's me and you until Jesus. Yep. Like, no matter what, if we do this, we end this. And having that pact in the beginning caused us both to really take this as a serious thing. What we learned was we had a real love for each other, but we had different life plans. Oh. And somebody was going to have to give up their life plan in order for the family to work. Now, at this time, I'm young. I'm in my 20s. I'm starting off in radio. I'm a graduate from Hampton University, but my first radio job, I made $7 an hour. And I'll never forget, I got a full-time job in Buffalo, New York, and they wanted me to sign a 3-year contract. I wouldn't sign the contract. So they said, okay, well, we're going to just let you go. It was December 20th. 5 days later, I didn't know, but my boyfriend then was planning to propose. And he proposed on Christmas Day. So I got fired and then I got engaged on Christmas Day. So I didn't have a job. So I ended up moving with him. This is how my Chicago run began, because he was an electrical engineer living in Illinois. So I ended up moving to Illinois. So we had spent a year long distance while I was working in Buffalo. So the first 2 weeks was amazing, right? Because it's like, okay, we're here. It's like honeymoon time. After that 2 weeks, he's going to work every day. I have no financial issues. Like, he has a reliable career, probably still has that job with that company at a higher level now. I moved in with him, so it was no extra bills. All I had to do was just get married and pop out some babies. And I said, this is not my life. This is not what God birthed me to become.
Now, I wanted to let the track breathe for a little bit so you can understand the context of the story as she told it. What was interesting within that is that she said, initially, I had sort of this Cinderella Disney fairy tale of becoming married. She went through college, had a serious relationship, got engaged, but then who came and dropped some feedback on that decision? Her father. Her father, who probably outside of her mother, knows her best. A father will know beyond the Disney fairy tale that creeped into her head about what marriage is or what it's about. A father would know if she has the behavior, the characteristics, the integrity, the morality to be that person, a wife in reality, again, not in Disney. For all my G's out there, you must understand that the generation that you grow up with, most of the modern women today are hit with the same type of images, distortions, media from mainstream that paints these idealistic pictures that they can have their cake as well as eat it too. That they could be selfish in being a career-oriented woman, that they'll never have to sacrifice their choices or decisions in order to have a family, a complete family, not one of which is being raised by a daycare worker or a babysitter, but a complete family. Because the mindset of the modern woman today that has grown up with this anchor of feminism, which has been fed to them within mainstream media through all outlets, music, movies, TV, the list goes on, is that one of pure selfishness, irrespective of having empathy for a man in the particular situation. When the father is saying you're not ready, he knows because he's the father. He's watched her. And listen, I'm telling my G's earlier on in life, be selfish within your career pursuits. Pursue that. Deprioritize women within your life. And once you get to a place where you've created yourself as a man, you've developed your masculinity, you have the financial foundation, a strong foundation where you could be the provider, you could be the protector, you can ensure security. And when you're ready, you can let your drawbridge down to a feminine, beautiful, inspirational young woman that's been honing her skills to be a great asset to the kingdom that you are building. Women, more often than not, want to live a soft girl era, but through feminism, they've convinced themselves that they wanted to be a career-oriented woman. But if you ask them time and time again, how much money do you expect your husband to make? Do you expect to work substantially after you have given birth? You begin to realize that the math doesn't work out. But what does Kendra say? A career is what God wanted her to do. When they get to middle age, they'll use God as a coping mechanism as their eggs are freeze-dried in a laboratory somewhere, while going up on television shows bragging that they have a roster of men. Was it really God's will to become that? Or did the feminist media that you're a part of, trick you?
And I knew I wasn't a housewife. I was like, I would not be happy as just somebody's wife and having their kids. Like, there's just so much inside of me. And I decided I'm going to pursue this career that has no guarantee. Like, literally, radio is probably one of the most unreliable careers you can bet on.
Yeah,
but it was like, I had to bet on me. And for a long time, I remember I used to think I chose my career over love. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't choose my career over love. I chose who I am. Like, this is who I am, whether I was making $1 off it or not. This is who Kendra is.
So why you say it had to be a choice, though? So what changed? What made it not work?
So what happened? Okay, I'm in radio. I ended up getting a job in Philly.
All right, you had to relocate.
I got fired from this job in Chicago. So now I had to relocate to Philly. And we were already kind of rocky because we were discovering, like, at that time, he was ready to have children. get married, like, because he didn't want to be an old father, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not having your child until we get married. And so we were learning, like, okay, we don't really have the same alignment for life goals. And I knew if I took the job in Philly,
No,
it
you
was a
didn't.
wrap. There was no way we were going to be able to survive another long distance relationship. And that's what happened. And I moved to Philly, and our relationship did not survive.
How long y'all together from the day that y'all committed?
We were in college. So we started in college, and then I want to say we met probably like my sophomore year in college. You have, it's one of those, you together, then you're not together.
Yeah.
Then after, our engagement was like 3 years. Once we got engaged, it was like a 3-year process. So by this time, we really are just, because the thing is, he wasn't a bad guy and there wasn't like infidelity. It's different when you learn that, oh, I really love you, but we're just not on the same life plan.
Yes.
That's it's easy to leave a person if they cheat on you,
Yep.
if they're disrespectful. But when the love is real, but the life assignment isn't aligned, that's harder. So, but I had to go for what I know, right? And I took the job in Philly, and then that dissolved. And I remember I was really, really sad. But he ended up moving on. But I share this story because some would say this is like 20 years ago. And it's like, okay, 20 years later, you're still not married. You're still not a wife. Would you make that same bet? Would you make the same decision?
And I'll say you would.
Incoming.
Absolutely, I would. I would have made it a day earlier because I had to choose me. Like, I am not going to suppress who I am
Had to
just
choose
to be
me.
somebody's wife. Like, you asked me outside, you said, am I somebody's wife? I said, I don't know. And I'm okay with that. Like, if I don't get married, it will not.
No, tell them how that conversation came up.
Because he writing letters to ghosts. Because seriously writing letters to ghost child. Now, I thought.
So, again, when we look at the projection of marriage rate into the future, and we hear her say things of choosing me or choosing my career, the inherent selfishness within that, then an decent conclusion is that a component of the falling marriage rate is because women are choosing themselves as opposed to choosing family. But the issue is, while choosing themselves, while they'll go on a path to increase the amount of money within their bank accounts, they're also losing some of the fundamental factors that men of substance, of value, find attractive. And they're not utilizing their prime years to secure a high moral, high integrity, masculine man that's worth his weight in salt, and are instead living out their whole years opting to be single mothers. The feminists and their programs funded by the government have won because they've taken the psyche of young ladies like this, fed them lies in order to increase GDP, gross domestic product, thus making them into the best men that they've ever known. Is this truly your nature, Kendra G? Or were you nurtured into this? And the mindset is so pervasive that women just like this, with this mindset, will castigate more traditional women or women that want to live well within their soft girl era. And now because they've created these high barriers to entry, now they create content complaining that men are emotionally inept. In effect, looking for men with much more feminine characteristics. The masculinization of the modern woman is a sight to be seen. Let's go.
Okay with that. Like, if I don't get married, it will not.
No, tell them how that conversation came up.
Because he writing letters to ghosts. Because seriously writing letters to ghost child. Now, I thought we stopped having imaginary friends when we was in kindergarten, but now Latyrus, he said, I'm about to write the letter to my invisible wife. I said, your wife?
I did not say
okay,
invisible.
he said to his wife, I said, the invisible woman you ain't never. Personally, I don't think Latyrus want to be nobody's husband, but, I think we might get to that part in the podcast. And I said, you writing letters to everybody know this woman but you. You done sat here, you've been around this world, around all these sensational women. He ain't trying to be nobody's husband, child. But,
I told her
that's my own theory.
I said she is not imaginary. She's a real person.
Yeah, everybody know but you. How everybody know your wife but you?
Because if we meet each other and it aligns and we say I do, then she became my wife. So she wouldn't be imaginary no more, would she?
Okay, this is your interview, so I'm going to respect that.
Talk.
Okay, but I have a question for you.
I don't know about this whole writing of a letter bullshit. I think the brother creating content that he writes letters to a woman that he has not yet known yet is like, that is a subset or a result of women creating content that they want like more emotionally in tune. Oh, man, he's playing the game, baby. He got women up in his DMs talking about, I think you're writing that letter to me. Let me give you my viscous innards. Nevertheless, I found this extra clip. Let's go over this one.
To me, there's nothing higher than an honor than saying, I'm going to be your wife. Because what I'm saying is everything is second to you.
Facts.
Everything is second to you. You have to deserve, you have to earn that.
Absolutely.
What happens is women show up for men as wives and they not even your boyfriend.
Absolutely.
Like he's not even reliable. And you got to stop giving out these wifely benefits to men, because this is why men don't want to become husbands, because they get husband treatments without even being your boyfriend. But
well, sort of no. If she's talking about giving up butt prematurely, then potentially. But I don't think wifely duties, like women that are showing wifely duties, are few and far between, baby. The average, typical modern woman today don't even know how to fry eggs. They don't know how to scramble eggs. You give them some flour and they just looking at the bitch like, well, what is this? What is this sugar? what do I do with this? But yeah, if you meet a baddie that treats herself without respect, discipline, or just like a 304 roaming the streets, is in self-preservation mode, prioritizes what she does for a living, and she's giving up them sweet buttery walls, then yeah, like, well, we gonna situationship until forever, baby girl. Like, we ain't going nowhere. Why buy the cow when the milk is free? This is like, I show up to a car lot and all of the cars are $1,000. And there's another car over there that does the exact same thing, right? Like get the exact same speed, exact same level of comfort. Maybe it's had like 14 previous owners. So maybe that's one negative, right? But the other car is like $50,000, all right? Yeah, why would I buy the $50,000 car when I can go get the $1,000 car that does the same things? Again, it's had 15 to 18 different owners by the age of 30, but it still does the same thing. Why would I choose the expensive one? The only way that men will choose the expensive one if it's not only a good deal, but then also they see long-term family building or relationship qualities. But you generally don't see these things. You see city girls. And don't give me that it's not women up in corporate America that's not adopting that city girl shit either, because they don't talk shit about that behavior. And in fact, they create a cocoon of acceptance for that behavior, and the sister code adores it. But anyway, I've had enough of this content, but shout out to Kendra G's pops. I think that the role of a father, amongst other things, is to tell things to your children that they will get nowhere else. It'll be the truth. So he told his daughter, irrespective of knowing that Kendra was going to get mad at him regarding his comments, he told her what he thought about where she was in life. Now, she made a decision. He knew the decision that she was inevitably going to make, while also recognizing that she wasn't par for the marriage course. But then the question is, how far do you go off in life, living life, before making a decision to roll it back to prepare for longevity? And as long as geriatric pregnancy is a thing, modern women will always be on the shot clock. All right, guys, that's how I'm going to leave this conversation here today. Drop me some comments down below. What is it that you think about the topics of this conversation? If we get enough comments, maybe I'll go live, baby. Bring people up. We'll have conversations. We'll go back and forth. You guys let me know. Let's see what kind of conversations that we can make. Because of this, last but not least, my G's, join my men's self-development community. All of this content that we do up here, we don't do it up there, all right? We talk about financial fitness. We talk about health and wellness. We talk about finding your purpose, developing your masculinity, all of the facets in order to make you the most improved version of yourself going into the future. And especially join if you have wealth building in your mindset, in your future, and you want it to be upgraded with tips, tricks, tools, how to do things, platforms that you should be using. It's all up there, all right? Until next time, YouTube.
She belongs to the street.
Girl, don't hold my hand. You a mattress actress on the OnlyFans. Get your money, girl, but damn, how is that your only plan? What you gonna do when you get too old to strip and dance? Get up out your echo chamber screaming period and yes. You a low down dirty woman if you try to get knocked up.